Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our returning guest, Damien. We're breaking away, worlds away. I had a little tongue tie there. And everything in between, and holy crap, it's almost been 100 interviews since I've had you on last, dude. Holy crap, what's been up? How have you been?
Hey man, I've been good, just teaching, doing everything. But shout out to you, man. I see you every time you're making moves, dude. Shout out to you for almost 200 interviews now.
Yeah, we're getting there. This is interview 191, so we are just 9 away. We are the final countdown is beginning. But look at you with all your W's, man. You just got a nice little promotion at work. You just got a brand new crib. We're getting ready, pre-launching. You know, almost 120 followers on that pre-launch page. Let's go. By the way, if you are watching, here's the launch. Sign up for this pre-launch for Worlds Away 2. Man, give us a little bit about yourself, though. How have you been?
Hey, man, I appreciate the shout out. I've been good. I've been working, prepping a lot of stuff for Worlds Away, number 1 and 2 on the Kickstarter. Working on a few other projects, trying to get everything settled. I did just move. Got a new job, like you said. And there's a lot that's been happening, and I'm extremely thankful for all the opportunities that I've had. Thankful for you having me on too, man. I'm truly grateful for all of you, for you especially.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you too, man. It's we were talking backstage, and I gotta give you another shout out. But when you told me to start asking people, what they want to talk about before the interview, it's been such a pivotal thing. It was I literally had a moment where I'm sitting at my table. I'm like, dude, why didn't I think about that 100 interviews ago? This was I should have been doing this forever. That's what I think. What I told you word for word. But thank you, dude, because that's been life changing for my stuff, for real.
Yeah, man, it's like I said, I got it. I didn't, it wasn't me who came up with that. I got that from other people as well. So I'm glad to share the knowledge. And you were so good with the interview, last time, I couldn't even tell. You're doing the interview with you. Sorry, I had to open up the door. Doing the interview with you was it's just, you're great at it, dude. You don't need any help at all.
Thank you. If you keep it up, my head's going to be too big for my shoulders. So let's go ahead, segue from me. Let's go back to you. Give us a little bit about who you are. We'll have a video popping up about this point in the post-production of our deeper dive. But for anyone who's new, give us a quick recap, and let's go ahead and start diving into the success of your last Kickstarter as well.
Yeah, I'm Damien Becton. I'm one of the 4 Mad Cave 2021 Mad Cave Studios Talent Search winner. Shout out to Dylan, Sabs, and Anna, who also won that year. And I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. Just got a new house. I'm doing a lot right now. But I'm also my biggest creative focus is Worlds Away right now, and the success. I think I forgot exactly how many backers. I think it was 299 backers the first Kickstarter. And I'm pretty sure I told every interviewer last time when it happened. I told them I have no idea where that came from. So I attribute all of that to Christian, who's the artist, Marco Del Forno, who's the artist, who is the other artist, and Luana. They make the book look great. I just put the words on there, and shout out to Reed, who's the letter and everything. But just constantly putting it out there. And I cross my fingers every time somebody posts about it, because I just want them to enjoy it. I lost money making it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It cost a lot of money to make, but I'm just thankful that so many people had even just a little bit of interest in it. So thankful for all of you guys who are listening. Shout out to Chris too, who made the logo. If you're listening or if you're watching, shout out to Chris.
I think this thing is really a testament to you and your resilience as well, right? This has been through a couple revisions. So, shout out to yourself, right, for staying strong and sticking to the vision, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for one of the things that I wanted to do in the first Kickstarter was the backup pages, which were the previous iterations of Worlds Away, and there were like, and I forgot exactly how many artists. Those are just 3. I think there were like 1 or 2 more who actually had character designs, who actually put together pages for it. But those are the ones that actually finished their pages, who actually had lettered, who actually had colored and shaded and everything. But yeah, it was, I think I came up with Worlds Away in 2017, 2018. And then I'm pretty sure we talked about this, but I love talking about it anyway. When I came up with it, I had to put it on the back burner for a while because I didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. But then when I won the Mad Cave Studios talent search thing, I told myself, hey, if this dream of being a creator, of making comic books, if this is going to happen, then it's going to happen right now. It's got to happen right now, because having that, shout out to Mad Cave, because just having my name put on something that's going to be in comic stores eventually, there's not a better opportunity to start creating than now.
I love it too. And by the way, guys, once again, the last interview we had, interview 95, if you're keen on searching for it, just the passion. We dove into the Mad Cave studio, the script that you pitched and everything, and deep dove in. And I just love like the mentality just to keep going until you get it. So give us a little bit about this. You've worked so hard for it. It's finally out. You had that successful Kickstarter. What's Worlds Away issue 1 about ultimately?
It's a simple story. It's a sci-fi fantasy action story. It's a simple plot, but hopefully I'm creating these complex characters. Like I said, the story is simple. All it is a mother and a daughter who crash landed on an alien planet, and their main goal, or the mother's main goal, is to get them off that planet safely. It's a really simple plot, but hopefully I throw some good obstacles, some interesting characters in there to make that difficult for them. There is a lot of action in there, but hopefully when you guys read it, or if you guys read it, if I'm lucky enough to have you guys read it, you'll see that these characters aren't just about punching and fighting. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of real character moments in there. Hopefully you'll be able to connect with some of them. A lot of them are inspired by my mom, and actually the mother is inspired by my mom. Actually, shout out to my mama too. Today's her birthday.
Happy birthday!
She was born in 58, so she's 64 now. Shout out to my mama. Love you, mama.
You better watch it throwing her age out there, though.
No, I mean, she's actually 50 something. She's not in her 60s at all. But it's a like I said, it's a simple story, or it's a simple plot, and hopefully you'll feel something along the way. Especially when we get to, if I'm lucky enough to make issue 3 and 4, or maybe 5, you'll see that this woman, the Serenity, our main character, is literally, she's willing to do anything to make sure that her daughter gets off that planet safely.
I just find it humorous that you say it's so simple. Yeah, when I read it, and we were just talking about just the beginning part of that alone, like it was so layered and there was so much emotion and depth to it that I was like, wow, dude, this is insane. Like,
yeah, man, I'm like, a lot of I know I put it in the last Kickstarter. One of the inspirations for it is a lot of the inspiration for the stories that I want to write are like video games, specifically God of War, Final Fantasy, and even The Last of Us. I don't know if you ever played The Last of Us or.
Oh, we just did a playthrough on Twitch of the new one that just came out on PS5.
Oh, part 1.
Yeah.
All right, so perfect. It really, when I first came up with it, initially it was like inspired more about by The Last of Us. Like the father-daughter relationship, and then it kind of morphed into more of a God of War father-son relationship, and then I kind of twisted it into my own thing, just replaced the mother-daughter. It was Mackenzie is more like me, the daughter, and then Serenity obviously is the mother, but it kind of morphed into its own thing. But a lot of it is inspired by The Last of Us. A lot of it is inspired by God of War. A lot of it is inspired by Final Fantasy, all this sci-fi fantasy stuff. But yeah, it's a simple, like I said, you know, there's not gonna be, well, there'll probably be some twists. I don't want to spoil anything, but like I said, there's this. I don't know if you guys know who Neil Druckmann is, who created The Last of Us, who's the director. But I think he said, you know, simple story and complex characters, and that's one of the things with that I try to do, because I don't have the mind for, you know, not yet. I might work towards that. I don't have like that M. Night Shyamalan, Jordan Peele quite mind yet. I just want to make these interesting characters, put them in these interesting situations, and hopefully make the audience or the reader feel something.
Man, those games you listed have such deep impacts. You know, when you play, it's such like a deep impact to you and your psyche, almost like the trauma, the loss. You know, what about that draws you, you know, to want to write a script in a similar vein?
You know, one of the things is when I play those games, or when I watch a movie like those, you know, you're able to, if it's done well, then you're able to connect to those characters. You're able to see, hey, or you might be able to say, hey, what would I do in this situation? Would I do the same thing that Ellie did? Would I do the same thing that Kratos did in the situation? And a lot of times you can, even if, you know, they're literal gods of war, sometimes even if they're in the middle of a post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse, you're able to connect with them, even though you're not in quite the same situation. And I want to do something similar to that. You know, I'm very much, you know, a lot of my mind, a lot of my creativity comes from video games like Final Fantasy. So, you know, it's just interesting trying to come up with different situations, super sci-fi, high fantasy type situations that can make you feel something, regardless if it's, you know, if it's made up or not, regardless if it's, you know, dragons or zombies or whatever. It's just fun trying to come up with different ways to make you feel good, or make you want to cry, or make you feel like, hey, I do love my mother that much.
I mean, let's use this opportunity to dive into Worlds Away issue 1 and see if we're gonna feel any of those three. If you are watching right now, leave a comment and let us know if you cried, laughed, or if you called your mom. All right, and we get to see the awesome backsplash for just a few seconds.
Oh, there it is.
All right, let me go ahead. I gotta see where. There it is. Boom. All right, let's go ahead and scroll up, and let's begin going through some of this. So right here is the cover for Worlds Away issue 1, and I thought this was an interesting cover. This is your cover A, correct?
That's cover A. Yep.
Go
ahead.
Oh, I was just about to ask you about who we're seeing on here, but I think you had a more interesting take.
Oh, no. Well, on there is Serenity and Mackenzie. They're in there. One of the things that I talked about on the first Kickstarter was, you know, it's a mix of God of War and Radiant Black. Visually, their costumes, their armor is very Radiant Black, very Power Rangers. But more, the story-wise, it's more God of War than anything. But this cover, this wasn't the initial cover that I pitched to Christian, who drew it. It was more when I pitched it to him, I wanted him to make it more, I guess more, not emotional, but more of Serenity and Mackenzie butting heads. But, you know, he did that for me. He gave me the layout for that. And then he also, at the same time, he pitched this other cover layout. He said, I think this, and he told me, I think, you know, to draw readers in, because, you know, covers are literally the first thing that people see, to draw these readers in and to give them more of an idea of what the story is about, how it's this science fiction fantasy type story. He wanted to do both of those things at the same time, and that's when he came up with them in their suits, or in their armor, with this ominous creature holding on to them, about to crush them. And I said, when he sent it to me, I was like, you know what? Scrap my initial. That's one. We're going with that one.
No, I really like this cover. It's we were talking earlier too, because we'll get a chance to look at those back pages a little later, but it's remarkable how just a different style or a different take on something completely changes everything.
Absolutely. And shout out to Christian, who's the artist, the co-creator with me. Like, he absolutely nailed it, and I'm so thankful that he actually. That's one of the things that I tell the people that I collaborate with. I tell them all the time, hey, if you have a better idea, then pitch it. Go ahead, tell me, because they, as the writer, I have it a certain way in my head. But the actual artists, they can come up with, that's what they're built for. That's what they do. They have they know how to lay things out in a certain way to make it that much more dynamic. And shout out to Christian, he killed it.
I would have never thought to do this. You know what I mean? Like, this is pretty impressive.
And even issue 2, when we talk about issue 2, he's but yeah, shout out to Christian. He's great. He's a good dude, man. I'm so thankful for him.
So we begin with a little bit of a flashback. So give us a little bit of a breakdown of what we're seeing, across page 1 and page 2.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to do, and you'll see when we get to the back matter how this scene kind of changed. One of the things that I wanted to do in the first couple of pages was, 1, do that flashback to set the story up, but 2, I wanted to get into the head of a specific character. But what happens with this scene, the character that we're in the head of, he only shows up for maybe 4 pages, and then it's off to the races with 2 other characters. But I wanted to establish in these first few pages, especially with that first page, I wanted to establish that these 2 characters, Serenity and Zaire. Shout out to Serenity and Zaire, my old students who I named them after. I wanted to show how passionate they were, and how imperfect they were. Even though they loved each other, even though they had this kid, they weren't quite ready, or they were very imperfect. They fought, they yelled at each other, and they, at the time when Mackenzie got sick, they weren't really together. The one thing that were I guess holding them together was Mackenzie. And we'll see in later issues how Mackenzie favored the daughter, favored one parent over the other as well.
I thought these pages, they were really effective for exposition. It shows a different side of Serenity. I mean, later pages, I felt like she was a little bit more colder, a little bit more calculated. And this one, you see her, it almost feels like she's brash, she's, like, in love, and like, it's awesome to kind of see the 2 sides,
Yeah. And we're gonna, again, if I'm very hopeful, if I'm lucky enough to make issue 3, 4, maybe 5, we'll see how this relationship with Zaire, this relationship with, having this kid, and this kid probably prefers the other parent over her. We'll see how that kind of affected Mackenzie, Serenity as well. And a lot of that is actually kind of goes back to my life. A lot of this is inspired by my life. Growing up, my parents were separated, and I honestly, I preferred living with another parent, who was my dad. Shout out to my dad. He's the one who got me into comic books. But I honestly, I lived with my mom like my entire life. But I really, there's a lot of stuff that happened before I was born that I didn't know about. But all I saw was love for my dad. Actually, all I saw was love for my mom as well. but me and my mom didn't quite like click as much.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, she would literally do anything for me. And, I love my mom. But me and my dad, we kind of we had a great relationship. Oh, we still have a great relationship. He's the one who got me into comic books. He would pick me up from school every day. He would go to all my basketball and my football games. And I didn't really realize, why he was the only one who was able to do it. It was because my mom, she had to work. She had to work from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. And that's why I didn't see her as much. And it wasn't until later on in life where I realized how hard she worked for me and my siblings.
Dude, yeah, hindsight, man. Like for me,
Yeah,
like when I was a kid, I lost my father to terminal lung cancer. Was 9 years old, and my mom, she raised me as single parent, and there were some things that happened that were less than favorable, but I didn't realize until I was an adult that she was an adult still, raising 4 kids, having to grieve the death of her husband. I didn't realize that. I didn't think about how hard that would have been until I'm going through an issue where I'm raising my kids, and I'm going through something, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe my mom did this and went through this, this is insane. You don't, hindsight is such a valuable thing, right?
I was gonna say it's lit. There are some days I don't want to get out of bed and feed my cat, but my I don't want to get up and go to work, and it's just me and my girlfriend. But my mom did it every day, 5-6 days a week, and I at the time, just like you said, we had no idea what they were going through. We had no idea what how hard these people or our parents worked. That's what I'm thankful for, man. That's why, she's such a good woman, and shout out to mom. Shout out to our mothers.
I think, at the end of the day, maybe we drew some of our endurance, right? Because we're both individuals who won't give up, who won't stop, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'd like to attribute that endurance to our moms there, so shout out to moms. Yeah.
Hey, and dude, shout out to you, man. I was gonna, I wanted to point this out, but it was probably less than 3 months ago that we had our, the first interview. Mine was 95, you said? Mm-hmm. It was 95, and this is 191?
Yeah.
Dude, and it probably hasn't even been 100 days. And you're almost at 100 interviews. Yeah. Shout out to you, man.
It's what I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna do it one way or another. And if I have to do it by doing it as much as humanly possible, then so be it. It's gonna happen one way, just like this comic, right? It's gonna happen one way or another.
As long as it's fun, as long as you get something good, as long as it's fulfilling, keep doing it, my brother, because you're absolutely killing it.
We got J. Michael Miller over on YouTube stopping in. How you doing? Welcome to the stream, Jay. We're actually in the middle of breaking down this awesome comic. Let's go ahead and dive back in, though. So here we see an interesting time lapse of Mackenzie, and there's some sort of illness going on. So what exactly is going on with her, or if that's spoiler territory, we can kind of skip over that too.
This is we'll hopefully again. The first arc is planned out, is outlined rather. If I'm lucky enough to do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, we'll come back to this part of the story. But this specific scene was probably, I guess, the point where Zaire said, "Hey, we have to do something right now," because this is the first point where we see Serenity is willing to do anything for her daughter, including, infiltrating a alien ship to steal this cure. But Zaire kind of intervenes and says, "You know what? I know your mother. I know you, Serenity. I know you would do anything to keep our daughter safe." So, so he kind of volunteers himself to do it. he actually succeeds, and knowing that Serenity will literally do anything to keep her daughter safe.
I loved the build up too. Like, he was ready to give up hope, he was ready to give up, and then he ended up being the one that gave it all. And if you're watching, student, don't take it personally.
Hey man, we will see a lot more Zaire going forward. It'll be in flashbacks, but we'll see a lot more of him as well. He plays a major part, even though he's spoilers. Even though he doesn't make it out alive, we'll see a lot more of Zaire and Mackenzie's relationship. We'll see a lot more of Zaire and Serenity's relationship as well.
I love comics like that too, where you already know that the protagonist is dead, but you could still do so much with that world building. Yeah, I just talked with Fellhound, and that right there was such a perfect example of it. Like,
watch that interview. That was a great interview.
Oh man. So we have the Fluff over on YouTube stopping in, saying nice as well. Welcome to the stream, guys. If anyone has any questions for Damien, feel free to ask away. So I love this right here too. The protecting the daughter. I love you both. You're perfect for each other. And kind of his last hurrah. Yeah, I was on my couch. I'm like, dude, wow. And then you get the title, and I was like, this is a great introduction.
Yeah. That scene, that last line where he says, I kind of played with that last line over and over and over again, where he says, "You're perfect for each other." Mm-hmm. I wanted to make it, very contrasting of how they actually are.
Because the butting heads.
So even though, they don't get along perfect, they kind of bump heads all the time. He said that because they can learn from each other. He said that because he knows Serenity will do anything to keep her safe. And I actually the logo, the credit scene, the next page right there, I kind of had to play with that as well, because initially that credit scene or that credit page was the first thing that you saw when you opened it up. But I said, hey, I thought about it kind of like a movie. So we had this whole first 4 pages, this whole first scene, and then after that first scene goes away, and then it says Worlds Away, and that's when we actually get into Worlds Away. So I really like how that turned out.
No, I think having it right there, what was the better move? It was, it had a lot more oomph. I thought.
Yeah, it was kind of that stamp. All right, this is the preamble, or this is the prologue, and now we're about to get into it. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Dead Hours, who actually formatted everything for me. Killed it, dude. Love you, dude.
So we begin 1 year later, and I love this too. I think when we first interviewed, this is what I got the opportunity to check out and read. And so we begin with Mackenzie, and I love just the transition from her parents to kind of her. What did you do to put yourself in the mentality? I know you you teach children, but how did you get in the mentality to write as one?
Yeah. The initial plan was to make Mackenzie even younger than she was. It was I think she was supposed to be 5 or 6, but every time I wrote the dialogue for it, she just did not sound like a 5 or a 6-year-old. And then I thought to myself, hey, I see 10, 11, 12-year-olds every single day. Middle schoolers, they curse, they're mean, they push, they shove. They're just regular people who just, who are still learning everything. So a lot of them, or a lot of Mackenzie, I try to think back to how I was in not second grade, when I was in middle school in 6th grade. I tried to think about some of the students that I currently have, that I've had in the past, who how they speak, how they interact with adults, how they talk about adults, how they talk about other teachers. So when she tells Cam, the AI, to shut the fuck up, these are things that middle schoolers, that's what they do. That's what they sound like. They might not say it in front of their parents, or they might think the teacher is not hearing. But a lot of this, a lot of it comes from my students as well.
I love right here too, how you begin interjecting kind of just Mackenzie doubting that her mom loves her, the putting that crack in there, that division in there to kind of separate the two, when it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, I promise you, that page right there, that dialogue right there, that's probably of this issue is my crowning achievement of dialogue. How Cam says, she'll do anything for you, Mackenzie, blah 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 blah, Mackenzie, and she says, I know. She's trying to get you out of here safely, Mackenzie. I know. She loves you, Mackenzie, and then she doesn't say anything. That little piece of silence. I thought I killed it. So
this another I love this too. It going to base. So this was another thing that really just like struck my attention. I actually posted about this on Twitter as well, because I was on the couch, had my physical copy in hand, and come up to this, and we have a little QR code in the corner. If you guys have your phone right now, you could actually pull it up, and it'll take you to a little YouTube video that will play music for you while you read along. So give us a little bit. I know we talked about it before, but since we're here, what was some of the inspiration for that?
One of the things that, I talked about, I don't think I got into this deep last time, but one of the things that that inspired that was me and my dad. It's really Serenity, or Mackenzie is really kind of like me, and my dad is Zaire, the dad in this. And one of the things that really, I guess, holds our relationship together, or is the crux of our relationship, is comic books. He's literally the one who got me into comic books. He used to take me every Saturday. I know New Comic Book Day is on Wednesday, but he had to work every day, except on the weekend. And he would take me every Wednesday until our comic book store actually closed. So one of the things that I wanted to do was incorporate something that Mackenzie and Zaire held dear, or something that that they connected with specifically. And one of the things that they connected with specifically, in this case, it just happened to be hip hop music. So the hip hop, it literally could have been anything, but I wanted to incorporate some music in there, kind of inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy. You'll see in every issue that there's going to be a scene where music plays, and this happens to be where Mackenzie listens to one of her dad's favorite songs, or favorite instrumentals. Shout out to Eli, who made this beat on that one. It's real dope. The next issue is actually going to be a beat that I made. When I was in high school. Maybe I was 15 or 16. But I promise you, it'll be dope.
It's gonna slap. I love this too. She's like, I'm gonna have to pass right by mom. Play the playlist 100%. And one thing I have a lot of praise, but I love this so much too. The lettering is blurred, so it's almost like you can't hear her, but you're reading it like as if you can't. It's blaring, your vision. I love that. That was really cool.
Shout out to Reed, who actually, when I typed it, I literally typed the dialogue, so you can kind of make out what she's saying if you stare at it hard enough. But I said, hey Reed, can you make it blurred so that it looks like if we were watching it or if we were listening to it, it just sounds mumbled, or if it sounds muddled or fuzzy. And when the way he did it, it was perfect. And this kind of set up the stuff later on as well, kind of the twist at the end. If you've read it, you'll see that music kind of plays a part in this issue, specifically at the end too.
So what's going on in this scene right now? We see that it's a little bit later. They're out. It looks like scanning the area.
So a lot of this issue, this page is, well, I don't know if we talked about it on air when we were talking about simple plot, complex characters. Was that all?
Yeah, I believe so.
Was that all? So
Yeah.
a lot of that is just, it's explaining to Mackenzie, hey, this is our plan. This is Serenity explained to Mackenzie, this is our plan. This is what we're doing, and this is how we're gonna get the hell off this planet. We need to find this energy source. We don't know where it is. It fluctuates, but when we find it, we need to be ready because they haven't been this far out. They don't know what this planet is or what's on this planet. They know there's some alien deer there. They know that Serenity knows that there could literally be anything out there. And then we actually see why she's so, I guess, uptight about it, because on this planet, it actually isn't this high-tech planet where there's, laser beams. And on this planet, it's kind of a contrast. But there's wizards, there's witches, there's gonna be dragons, there's gonna be all these, I guess, not Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Lord of the Ring type.
Is that like where your love for Final Fantasy comes into play?
Absolutely, yep. A lot of the wizards, a lot of the the spellcasters, a lot of the fantastical parts, the high fantasy parts you'll see. Especially, this is just a taste of it. If I'm lucky enough to make issue 2, issue 3, issue 4, issue 5, you'll see more of this fantasy, magic, wizardry type stuff going forward.
I love this too, where they both say shit, and then the mom looks at her mad.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny too. Because
was that something that your artist threw in?
Which part?
The little anger bubble.
Oh no, that was me. Shout out to Reed. I put I think I just Googled, because I didn't know how to type it in the script, so I Googled I think angry emoji, and then read through it in there. So shout out to Reed. But yeah, it turned out perfectly, because at the beginning, she was cursing, and then
Reed's probably dude, I'm a letterer, I'm not an artist.
Hey, shout out to Reed, man. Reed knows what he's doing. Reed actually has a story in Big Hype Volume 3. I think that's coming out in 2023. But Reed's a good dude too, man. Every time I reach out to him, he's always helpful, always so kind.
I see Reed everywhere.
I literally couldn't make this. If you look at the lettering, like the sound effects, those sound effects weren't there.
Oh, the swoosh?
The whoosh, when she's sliding on the ground, that sound effect wasn't there.
That looks awesome too.
I forget exactly what I put in that one, but he did all the lettering, even the sound effects, and he absolutely killed it.
I keep hearing over and over that lettering is like an art style in itself, and after literally going through hundreds of books, it really is. It makes or breaks, a book, really.
Yeah, and if something's off about the lettering, if something isn't quite right, people who don't letter, like me or anyone else who don't know how to letter, will be able to we'll see that this doesn't quite look right. We won't probably know specifically what's wrong or what's off, but when one of the first things that you'll see when you're reading a comic book, if something isn't right, it's probably those letters. It's really quick. You're really quick to know when something's wrong if those letters are off. So the letters do a great job. If you don't notice anything, then the letters are doing a great job. So shout out to Reed.
No, yeah, absolutely. So I love this little interaction too. We see her almost fall, and Mom, of course, saves her.
Yep.
And then we kind of see them start to walk off, and then Mackenzie is not happy at all. So this interaction between the two is just, I love how you're diving deeper and deeper, into the butting head aspect of it.
Yeah. And this scene I actually had to play with a little bit. The whole obstacle, getting from one side of the bridge to the other, that didn't exist at first. I think they were just initially walking and then out of conversation, they started bumping heads. But I think it was Devin, who the editor, I know you just, I think you just.
Oh yeah, that was, I think,
last
2
week,
interviews.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2 interviews ago. That was Wednesday before Fell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I watched Fell. I think I missed.
187 for Devin.
Yeah, but Devin, I think it was Devin, the editor on this book, who brought it back to me and said, "Hey, you might want to reconsider doing this scene, make it more lively." So I think when he gave me those notes, I went back and said, "Let's put an obstacle in the way instead of just them talking, and they have an argument through just talking. Let's put this obstacle in the way that will actually, I guess, expedite that fight a little bit more."
So that is the argument too about needing an editor, like whether you need one or not. Like that sounds like it changed the whole like process of the story right here.
One of the things that, if you're a creator out there, if you're a writer, one of the best things that you can do, if you have the budget, or if you can just get a second set of eyes on your script, is get yourself an editor. It's never a bad thing when you get a second set of eyes, a third set of eyes out on your book, because your brain, it might not catch something that someone else can catch. So shout out to Devin, shout out to Brian Hawkins. Brian Hawkins has a lot of, I don't know how he does it. Brian Hawkins, he's an editor at Mad Cave. He has a book with Aftershock. He has a book with Scout. He has more books going on, but he's a great editor. And he taught me a lot. He's teaching.
Hey, is this a little Easter egg to Beats right here too?
Because when Pascal Sampaio, he's the one who created the characters visually, what they look like, the armor and everything. And when I said, "Hey, can this character have her helmet? Can it make it look like that? She listens to music, because music is going to play a huge part in it." And when he sent it to me, he made the headphones look like beats. I said, "Dude, that is absolutely perfect."
Another thing I just caught was this little ominous shadow right here. I didn't catch that the first time. The second time reading it, I'm like, okay, I see you now. So I love that too, the foreshadowing that you drop right here.
Yeah. Christian absolutely killed it. I cannot speak higher of Christian. I'm so glad he agreed to come on board with this. He's a great dude, and he's a great artist, man. He's absolutely a great artist. And like this last panel right here, or this next panel with the witch, I said, because I told him, when he created the character, the designs for the witch. And when I gave him free reign to do it, I like, do whatever comes to your mind, whatever you come up with. And he said, "You know what? I'm going to come up with this Rita Repulsa Power Rangers type thing." And he came up with this. And I'll tell you what, in the next issue 2, there's some things that go down, and you get introduced to more characters. Some characters transform kinda, and Christian he absolutely knocked it out of the park. Tomorrow I'm actually gonna post some more promos for some characters that you'll be introduced to. But shout out to Christian, man. He's a good dude, great artist.
Real quick, we have Ian Modric over on YouTube. The blurred dialogue trick is really cool. Great stuff. I have to absolutely agree. So I think right now, I don't want to spoil anything else. I think people should have to back Worlds Away issue 2. Once again, here is the pre-launch campaign. If you guys are not following it, I'd love to see this to hit 120 before the interview is over. If you're not following that, you're missing out. But I think you should back this to get the opportunity to finish this if you haven't already. What do you say, Damien?
Yes, please.
But real quick though, what's your thoughts at me just scrolling down real quick so we could check out some of that older art?
Oh, go ahead. That's absolutely fine.
So that way we're not spoiling anything, but we could kind of check out what it could have been. So before I interrupted you, what were you going to say?
October 12th. It comes out. The Kickstarter launches October 12th. So we got 10 days, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. I'm hopefully, I think last Kickstarter I had 150 pre-launch followers. I'm trying to get anywhere above 151. So if you guys are interested, if you guys even a little bit interested, just do me a favor, please.
It seems like the returning amount though is a good amount though. The conversion rate, right?
Yeah, I think it was like the people who backed it was, I forgot the exact numbers, but yeah, it was great. I couldn't ask for more. You guys have been great. If you're listening, if you're one of the backers, or if you're one of the followers, or if you're considering following, I truly appreciate your support. I was telling Cody before, like when I actually got the physical book of the proof of Worlds Away, I damn near cried because you guys literally made my dream come true. So thank you. Thank you.
We are looking at some of the previous art for this book before you landed on your artist that you have now. So give us a little bit of a breakdown of these pages.
So one of the first artists, I think she was from Spain or is from Spain, and she's doing great things now. One of the reasons why Esther hopped off the book was because she got so many opportunities because of how great her art is and was. But she was one of the first ones who I got onto it. And we actually had like 5, 6, or 7 pages of art. And then she kind of said, because the initial plan was to make it a webcomic. I released 1 page every 2 weeks or something, 1 page every however often that we get the pages done. Well, then, she's so good that she said, hey, look, Damien, I'm sorry, but I actually have to, I have more opportunities, and which is fine. I truly understand,
But it's still like, ow.
Yeah, it hurt. I'm not gonna lie. But like we said, like I told you before, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because if that didn't happen, then I wouldn't have gotten to collaborate with Christian. But yeah, this first one is Esther.
So this was in the second one was in the same year though, right? 2018.
Yeah, I think I got it right back to back. I was like, all right, Esther had to drop out. Let's go ahead and do it again. Let me spend more money on this artist. And I really, for this one, I kind of, I think Tiva Yuan, I think for this, I really wanted to push the anime style.
Yeah.
And like I absolutely loved how it turned out. I'm not exactly, I think when this happened, I think we had like 2 or 3 or 4 pages done as well. The same plan, every so often. I think what happened was for this, I think I was broke. I think I ran out of money, and I was like, look, man, we're gonna have to pump the brakes a little bit.
So the husband's name changed though, right? If I'm reading this correctly, it looks like.
Yeah, it was Lyndon. I don't know why I came up with Lyndon, the president. But then I wanted to make it a little bit more personal. I wanted to shout out a lot of the people who supported me throughout the years, or who shout out the people who has had an impact on my life. So that's when I kind of moved towards just about everyone that I name now. If I have the opportunity to name that character, to it's probably going to be inspired by somebody who's had an impact on my life. Even Cam, the AI in the book, Cam stands for what is it called? Computerized anthropomorphic mainframe. He's just like Jarvis from like in an Iron Man suit. But Cam was named after a student that I had in my first year, Cameron Jenkins. And I had to force that. The acronym in there. I was like, I know I want this person or the AI's name to be Cam. Now I just have to come up with an acronym. What does the C stand for? What does the A stand for? What does the M stand for? And it kind of worked. But yeah, after I realized, like, you know, I had a lot of people to attribute to my success, not just in, you know, creators, creation wise or creatively. I had a lot of people who I can attribute to my success in my professional life and education. And a lot of those are students as well.
That's so awesome. Real quick, another awesome thing to bring up. Ian just informed us that you have 120 followers on your sign up page. So let's go, man. Let's go. Let's push it to 125.
Thank you, Ian. I appreciate you letting me know. And whoever, everyone else, I'm speechless. I know it's just like 4 followers or 3 followers.
It's still big though, man. That's still awesome. Let's go, man.
No, I promise you, I'm getting emotional, man. Just, you guys don't understand. Well, you probably do understand. But you guys are literally making my dreams come true. It's crazy, man. Like, from ever since I was little, I just, you know, I used to draw my own comics. I used to have a character named Panda Man, and now it's happening. Thankful. Thanks to you guys.
We see the last page right here too. So this was 2019 and 20. So this was the last one before the current artist that you have now.
Yes, and I think this was, again, he was so good that he had more opportunities, and he did everything. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name.
I was gonna say you are gonna have a way better shot than me.
Let's just call him Mr. Francev. But he did everything. He did the colors. He did the art, he did the inks. I think Reed actually did the letters for this one. But you know, he was so good that he had more opportunities as well. And I was like, dude, you know, it was a steal just getting you to agree to do these few pages anyway. And then I kind of took a break from Worlds Away. And then after that break, I submitted a story to Mad Cave Studios, and I actually got on. I actually won. And then I told myself, hey, again, if this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen right freaking now. And that's when I went all in. You know, I told myself, we're not gonna do the 1 page a month thing right now. You know, I'm gonna find an artist. We're gonna sign this agreement. Hey, I'll pay you this amount of money for half, and then when you finish, I'll pay you half, and then we'll go from there. If we're lucky enough to make more, that's exactly what happened. And it's thankful. I mean, it's thanks to you guys. Thanks to all the support from everyone.
And one of my favorite things too is when I finished reading this book and I looked at the back cover, shouting out the team. I love just how adamant you are about making sure they get just as much as, you know, of the exposure as you do.
Yeah, man, because I'm lucky that they actually even agreed to be on this project. But 2, I'm just thankful. You know, I couldn't have done it without them. And the best part about it is they're just great people. Every time I talk to them, every time I hit them up, every time I message them, you know, they're just so kind, so helpful. They're so good people. They're just good people. Hey, buddy. My cat.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We got cats jumping in on the show all the time.
There you go.
Very, very, very cat friendly here. So here is issue 1 in its entirety. We didn't spoil all of it though. Like I said, you're gonna have to check out that campaign. You're gonna have to back it, make it happen, and get issue 1 and issue 2. Now, before we wrap things up, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about issue 2 while we're on the subject. So, I mean, what are we looking at in terms of like rewards? I know you're still in the pre-launch phase, but as far as like what, you know, people can expect when this drops, you know, what type of things are you looking at having?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm really excited about that I literally ordered today, so hopefully I'll get that in the next week or 2, are the trading cards. One of the things that I don't know if I can send it to you. I don't know. But one of the things is a Serenity trading card. And hopefully I'll be able to make more of those. And on the back of the trading card, you'll see her melee attack, her ranged attack, her defense.
Oh, that's so cool.
But one of the things that I plan on doing is if you choose one of the rewards that has a Serenity trading card in it, there's a few of them that has the Serenity trading card. If you choose one of the rewards with the card, there's a chance where I'm randomly going to pick, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to randomly pick people or backers to have a foil trading card. So you'll get the original, the regular trading card, and then a foil trading card as well, a holographic one. And I'm excited about that. I ordered the foil ones, the holographic ones today, just to see what they look like. But I'm very excited about that because it's just, growing up, I was born in 91.
Yeah.
I was born in 91. One of the things that I was stuck on for probably 5 years, from 8 to 13, maybe, were Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times I've got kicked off the bus, because back in the day, that was a thing. You would get kicked off the bus if you got caught with your cards or a Game Boy. Like, the people thought they were the devils, whatever. They would see on the bus the reflection from the holographic cards. The sun would hit in, and they would look on the roof, and then you would get your cards taken.
Oh,
and it would be the good ones because they're the holographic ones. It's like, don't do this to me.
Yeah, man. It was, Pokemon is still going strong. I'm gonna get, I think Scarlet and Violet in November.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that too. Absolutely.
It was crazy when it first came out. It was like,
Pokemon Legends Arceus was actually really fire. I don't know if you had a chance to play that.
I didn't finish it, but I played it. A lot of that is transferring over to Violet and
yes, I hope
Scarlet. It's not the turn. Well, it kind of is turn based, but it's not gonna have that cut screen where it's gonna transition into everything. It's gonna be like not live action, but just transition straight into the battle. I cannot wait for it.
No, that's gonna be awesome.
But Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, it was such a huge influence on my life. So just having a trading card with a character that I created or I helped create, it was really fun. And hopefully people enjoy it. Hopefully people get into it or back it because there is a chance to get that foil. And if you get the foil, it's not just gonna be this foil. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but if you're one of the ones who gets that holographic card and you post it online, then I don't know exactly what I'm gonna what kind of reward I'm sending out, but it's gonna be something. So hopefully that'll incentivize people to get those rewards. Because like I said, Pack Illustration, I think he did he do your he designed the card. I hit him up. Because I saw yours. I think you have the business card at your local comic book store, right?
Yeah.
So he designed the card. I hit him up because he made my card too. But I hit him up, and shout out to him. He's great. He's a good dude too. He was really friendly, really kind. But he made the card and he absolutely knocked it out of the park.
I love so much when I hit him up at first. I'm like, yo, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, how much for the cat? I was like, I love my cat. I need to get my cat in this. He was like, I love cats. I'll do it for free. And I'm like,
yeah, he's a good dude, man. Like I said, he was really kind, and both cards that he made for me were great. Another one is this shirt right here.
Yeah, that shirt looks fire, man.
Yeah, man. So hopefully, I'm trying to make a couple shirts. If I don't make a couple shirts, then this will be definitely
Dude,
the
your
one.
students are your students geeking out? Have they seen it yet?
Man, I have a poster. We have a poster maker at my school, and I put the cover. The first thing that you see when you walk into my classroom is Worlds Away. Is Worlds Away. When you walk in.
Extra credit if you buy the comic. Let's go.
Yep. I wear my shirt. I wore one of my shirts to school. And they're, I have a lot of great kids, man, and they're so they Googled me. They Googled my Kickstarter. They said, "You made $5,000. What did you do with it?" I said, "I made the cover book with $5,000. What are you talking about?" But they're great. They're very supportive. Kids are. It's easy to be. It's easy to be so, I guess, so thankful, or to wake up in the morning when you have a lot of great kids to teach. And not every day is very hard. Not every day is easy. Not every day. Actually, every day is kind of hard. But when you actually in the classroom, when you're actually interacting with them, when you actually see them learning, when they're actually engaged, when you actually see you're making a difference in their lives, that's when we don't get paid too much, but it is worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
That's awesome. I love that so much. Thank you for coming back on the show, breaking this down with us like so in depth. That was such an awesome experience. I always love getting to do that, but you know the drill. Before we wrap this show up completely, I always love asking a question for anyone who might be new out there listening for the first time. We have Megan Brown over on YouTube throwing in some laugh emojis and a skull. So you know the drill. As much as this is a podcast where we really break down you and your book, I always love asking a question in particular for anyone who might be new, or maybe they're experienced in the scene but they're struggling. And I think it'd be really important to focus on being resilient. So with that being said, what would be your piece of advice for anyone who's just having trouble, like being resilient, having hope, and keep chugging forward?
Yeah. One of the things that you can do is, I would say, is taking that first step. That first step is literally the hardest part for a lot of people. It was the hardest part for me, because when it could be when you take that step, or when you're going after something, you have a chance of failing, and that chance of failure is really real. It's very real for a lot of people. But I will say, you'll never know if you have the resources, if you have the not gonna lie, if you have the money to make it happen, if you have the time to make it happen, if you don't have, I guess, as many responsibilities, if you can make it happen, then I would say at least give it a try. Because even though that first step is the scariest, there might be some solid footing under that.
Yeah.
There might be an opportunity waiting for you, just because you made that first step. And I wouldn't have made it as far. I'm not very far yet, but I wouldn't have got to this point if I didn't try. And you don't want to, this sounds cliche, but you won't want to be that guy or that person who thinks about what could have been. Man, I could have done this if I just, if I tried. You don't want to regret not making that decision. So if you have the resources, take that first step. That first step is the scariest. But once you're into it, you can see that there might be something on the other side.
They always say that when you're on your deathbed, the biggest regret you have is all the things that could have been, right? Like, so no, I think that is a big thing. Is at least taking that step, because if it doesn't work out, you at least know that you gave it your all, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Dude, Damien, thank you so much. That was such an awesome piece of advice. Everyone watching, this drops October 12th. There is the pre-launch page. Let's get it up to 125 followers if we're able to. With that being said, guys, I hope you all have a lovely Sunday night, but most importantly, keep it geekly.
Thank you.